I was a cleaner for the 1%, and after discovering a senator's darkest secret, I realized that silence isn't just golden, it's worth $50 million. In the world of the ultra-wealthy, people like me don't have names. I am the lifestyle manager, the concierge, or the maintenance lead. In reality, I am a professional eraser. For 12 years, I worked for the families that own the zip codes you aren't allowed to drive through. I've scrubbed blood out of white Persian rugs after unfortunate accidents. I've paid off mistresses in airport lounges, and I've buried the digital footprints of spoiled heirs who thought they could outrun the internet. I was good at it because I was invisible. I had no ego, no judgment, and a very high price. But last month, I found the one mess that couldn't be scrubbed away with bleach and a non-disclosure agreement. And instead of calling the cops, I decided to become the most expensive mistake Senator Julian Sterling ever made. Senator Sterling is a man built on a foundation of Midwestern values. He's the frontrunner for a major governorship, a man who quotes the Bible in the morning and talks about cleaning up our streets in the evening. I had been his primary fixer for 3 years. Usually it was boring stuff, covering up his son's reckless driving or making sure his offshore account stayed offshore. Then came the Tuesday night call. His voice was different, thin, vibrating with a frequency I had never heard from him. "Elias," he whispered, "the basement, the panic room. I need you there, now. Bring the heavy-duty kit." When I arrived at his estate, the air felt heavy. The house was silent, but the senator was waiting at the top of the stairs, nursing a glass of scotch with a hand that wouldn't stop shaking. He didn't say a word, he just pointed toward the basement door. I've seen a lot in this job. I thought I was desensitized, but when I opened the door to that high-tech, soundproofed panic room, the world stopped spinning. It wasn't a mess, it was a crime scene. A young woman, barely 20, was slumped against the reinforced wall. There was no blood, but her skin had that unmistakable waxy pallor of a life that had been extinguished far too soon. On the table next to her were vials of a designer sedative I knew the senator used to keep his stress under control. My heart should have hammered. I should have reached for my phone to dial 911. But 12 years of cleaning for monsters does something to your soul. My first thought wasn't help her. My first thought was he finally did it. He finally crossed the line. I walked back upstairs. The senator was sobbing now, a pathetic, wet sound that didn't match his expensive suit. "It was an accident, Elias," he gasped. She had a reaction. I can't have this. My campaign, my family, my legacy. Fix it. I'll pay anything. 5 million? 10? I looked at him, this pillar of the community, and I saw a golden goose. If I called the cops, she stayed dead, and I went back to my 1-bedroom apartment with a thank you from the DA. If I fixed it for 10 million, I was still just a servant with a little more padding in my 401k. But there was a third option. 10 million is the price for a rug, Senator, I said, my voice as flat as a dial tone. This isn't a rug. This is your life. This is the rest of your days spent in a 6x8 cell. This is your children losing their inheritance and your name being dragged through the dirt for the next century. He looked up, hope flickering in his eyes. "So you'll do it?" "No," I replied. "I won't touch her. If I touch that body, I'm an accessory. But if I don't call the police for the next hour, you have time to make a choice. And that hour is going to cost you $50 million. Half now, half by sunrise." He stared at me, horrified. That's almost everything I have liquid." "I suggest you start logging into your accounts," I said, pulling up a chair and checking my watch. "You have 58 minutes left." It was the most tense hour of my life. He paced, he cursed, he pleaded, but I sat there like a statue. I watched the wire transfers hit my offshore account in increments, 5 million, 10, 25. By the time the clock hit 50 minutes, I was $50 million richer. "Now fix it," he screamed, gesturing toward the basement. I stood up, adjusted my jacket, and headed for the door. "I never said I'd fix it, Julian," I said calmly. "I said I wouldn't call the police for an hour. That hour is up." I walked out of the house, got into my car, and drove 3 blocks away to a burner phone. I called the anonymous tip line and reported a medical emergency at the senator's address, giving them the exact code for the panic room I had memorized months ago. By the time the sirens were echoing through the neighborhood, I was already at a private airfield. The fallout was spectacular. The senator was arrested 2 hours later. They found the girl, the drugs, and a frantic Julian Sterling trying to move a body he didn't have the stomach to handle alone. The news cycle was a bloodbath. His values were stripped away in front of the whole world. He's currently awaiting trial, and his lawyers are bleeding the rest of his wealth dry just to keep him out of the general population. People ask me how I sleep. They say I'm just as bad as him, that I took blood money and let a girl stay dead for an hour while I negotiated a price. Maybe they're right, but in my world, the girl was already dead. Call in the cops 5 minutes earlier wouldn't have brought her back. All it would have done is let the senator keep his money for his high-priced defense. Now that money is with me. I've set up a massive anonymous trust fund for the girl's family. They'll never want for anything again. I've donated $10 million to advocacy groups for victims of the wealthy. And the rest? The rest is my retirement. I am sitting on a balcony in a country that doesn't have an extradition treaty with the United States. I watch the sunset over the ocean, and I don't feel a shred of regret. I spent 12 years cleaning up after monsters. It was only fair that for once the monster paid for the privilege of being found out. Senator Sterling thought he was buying my loyalty. He didn't realize that cleaner eventually gets tired of the dirt. Sometimes the only way to truly clean a room is to burn the whole house down and take the jewelry with you on the way out. Am I a cynical opportunist who profited from a tragedy, or did I deliver the only kind of justice that actually hurts a man like Julian Sterling?